All right, so everybody who is not Genevieve, please mute yourselves or I will mute you and make it so that you're not unmutable for later. So, all right, Genevieve, it looks like we are live. So whenever you are ready, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Nikki. Okay, hi, everybody. It's 11 o'clock, and today's the 5th of September, and I'm Genevieve. I'm going to be emceeing today. You are hanging out with us, KCOACians, this morning on Sunday. So maybe you'd like to know a little bit about KC Oasis to get us started. Yeah, we're really happy that you could come and join us with this Zoom meeting today, and also we are live on Facebook too. We believe that the human experience is better shared, and so we're really pleased that you chose to come hang out with us right now. We are a place where we can gather around our 5 values, which are: people are more important than beliefs, meaning comes from making a difference, reality is known through reason, human hands solve human problems, and be accepting and be accepted. We have a great lineup today. So our musical guest is our very own JJ Cantrell, who I think may be singing some lovely tunes we know well. We could probably do the backups for. We'll see. I don't know. I'm assuming. I heard a little bit and it sounds great. Also, our community moment today will be none other than Nikki activists, who will be telling us something. I'm curious to see what they have to say today. And then we also will be hearing from Lindsey Doolittle a little bit later about art and suicide. So to get us started, we're going to start with JJ. Yeah, JJ, so whenever you're ready, if you wouldn't mind.
Hey everybody. It's good to play for you. This is, as most of you have probably heard at this point. Need
Hey,
more volume?
JJ.
Is that better?
Yeah, more volume.
Gotta eat that mic. I sing louder than I talk, so that's part of the problem. Yeah, this is my last performance serving as the music coordinator for Oasis, and Jason Radford and Terry Allen are going to be taking that over, and they're going to do a wonderful job. It's been a real pleasure doing all this for you for, I guess, like over 7 years now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to just hanging out as a audience member. It'll be real nice. That'll be so fancy. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I'm just gonna play some tunes for you, then call it a night. Son, welcome to the machine. Where have you been? It's alright right now, where you been? You've been in the pipeline billion times, provided with toys and scouting for boys. You bought a guitar to punish your mom. You didn't like school, and you know you're nobody's fool. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the machine. Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine. What did you dream? It's alright, we told you what to dream. You dreamed of a big star. He played a mean guitar, and he loved to eat at the steak bar, and he loved to drive in his Jaguar. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the
absolutely gorgeous. Man, like especially all that beautiful guitar part. It feels like I'm floating down a river and I just want to keep on floating and just listen, listen, listen. I just like it so much. Are you gonna play one more for us, JJ?
Well,
Or
that
are
kind of
we?
just kind of like segued into an instrumental thing, but I can do another singing song. I don't know what the timeline's like though. It's up to you all.
Okay, well, uh, okay, well then I guess that could be two with the improv-y stuff. Maybe let's go ahead. We'll take a jump because I think we do want to talk about community groups
I
too.
want to hear what
Yeah.
Lindsey's gonna say. So yeah, let's
Oh,
just move on.
okay. Yeah. No, but before we do that, I also would like to say if you go and look in the chat, Jason's put up JJ's Venmo info. And, hey, it's our last time that we can tell tell JJ how much we appreciate them. So, go ahead, dump some cash on in there. Yeah. So we're going to move on to, I think, announcements next. Yes. So I think I think we're gonna talk about two things, but I'll let Mark go ahead and speak about community groups.
Community groups and community moments. Good morning, everyone. Actually, I'm going to start with community moments first. This will be very brief. Those of you who have been around for 7 years or something less than that know that our format has always included a community moment each week from someone in our community, a chance to talk about a hobby, a passion, your work, a trip you took, a philosophical stance. We even had once a really, 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 really long joke that filled up a 7 or 10 minute community moment. They're really important to our format. The reason I'm discussing it today is we're, having done it for so long, we've got kind of the usual suspects that volunteer again and again, and we try not to use the same people repeatedly, at least more than twice a year. So I'm looking for volunteers for community moments starting September 19th and beyond. So we're good this week and next, but after that I've got open slots. So we'd really love to hear from you. It is really important because sometimes our musician is not a member of our community, today being an exception. Our speaker often isn't, and in this Zoom format, I think it's really an important way to continue to build community by hearing from people in the community. So reach out to me if you would via the private group or Facebook Messenger or however you wish if you'd like to consider talking about just about anything you want for 5 to 7 minutes. Shifting to community groups, we're enrolling right now. The first group is a week from today, in fact, and that's Jeremy and Genevieve's group. We've got a fair amount of enrollment, but not as much as I'd like to see, and our enrollment's a little heavy in a couple of the groups as opposed to some of the others. I'd really love to see some folks consider signing up for Genevieve and Jeremy's group, for Daniel Harris's group, and Brittany Wheeler Rhodes' group. The others are fine too, but they're filling pretty rapidly. I'll post the link. You can find it out on the private page, but I'll post it here in a moment as soon as I shut up. And it's just a quick sign-up survey. It doesn't take 5 minutes to fill out, mostly collecting your contact information and which group you'd like to participate in. So those are Zoom only right now. We used to do them in person pre-COVID, and someday we'll go back to that format. But it's another great way of in a small group setting, six to 10 people, getting to know people on a more intimate basis than in the larger Sunday gathering format. It'll be every other week, starting the week of September 12th, for 5 sessions, although some of the hosts meet in the off weeks too. That's up to the host, but so somewhere between 5 and 9 sessions starting in mid-September and ending in mid-November. So please consider doing that, and I'll post the link here in a minute. Back to you, Genevieve.
Thanks, Mark. I would like to plug mine since I know now that mine needs it. Yeah, Jeremy and I also, as we have not done this before. We're also pretty new to Oasis, but when we moved here, everybody said Kansas City is like, what is it, small town, big city mentality, whatever. I did not know what that meant until I got here. But now I'm pretty much, with COVID and everything, we could really, we'd love to just get to know more people in this organization. We've only really gotten to know our community groups and, those people that have reached out on Facebook. It's been awesome, but I'd really love to get to know you guys. I haven't gotten to see you. So yeah, we'll be on Sundays, but I think we're going to really mix it up and make it interesting because we're all about wanting to make it fun. That's our goal. So anyway, yeah. Thanks, Mark. I hope that more people will join and we'll all get to see you soon. Okay, drum roll. We're moving on to Nikki next. All right, so community moments. Let's talk about those. I'm gonna just add a little bit more for those who don't know. This is a chance for our Oasis community to share something you've learned or share something about your journey through life or even your favorite pastime, as Mark had mentioned. So yeah, this time it's going to be Nikki. I don't think that Nikki gave me any special words or warning labels. Should we just skip that bit and move on?
Yeah, I felt like most people know of me. So like, just make up in your head what you're feeling and yeah, even if it's something rude about me, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well, first off, thank you to JJ for being here and for all of the years of service. I know they're still going to be around doing stuff. And we love them and we are going to, we're going to still see them around. So don't feel like they're running away because JJ, I will come personally find you. I will Liam Neeson you if you decide to disappear on us. Second of all, I want to shout out to our community or our featured speaker today, Lindsey Doolittle. She has come and spoken to us before about her story, and I think we're going to get more of it today. And this is a plug for, and she'll tell us more about it, but next week is the SAS Walk for suicide survivors. She'll tell us all about it. But this will be the third year Oasis is a sponsor for that. So I highly recommend checking it out. I think there's still time. I think you can sign up once you get there, but she'll tell us a little bit more about that. But anyways, and also thank you, Genevieve and Mark, for doing your thing today. I super appreciate it. Yeah. So there is somebody at my door. We're going to ignore that because it is 11:20 on a Sunday and I'm a millennial and I do not open the door for uninvited guests. I know serial killers. So anyways, I'm going to start my little timer here so I don't talk your ear off all morning, and I'm going to share my screen. So most of you probably know, and if you do not know me very well, you know that I like to hyperfixate on certain things. And one of my big hyperfixations is Nicolas Cage, which I'm sat in my beautiful Nick Cage room today. The second one is my current fixation, and I guess kind of a big passion of mine is teaching. I am a second-year teacher on the Kansas side. I work in a high school. I'm a high school science teacher, and I absolutely love it. I 100% love it, regardless of all the shenanigans that have been happening the last 2 years. And when Mark asked me to come do a community moment today, I wasn't sure how I wanted to go about this. I had a whole bunch of things going on in my head that I was like, oh, I could share X, Y, and Z. But since we all know that it has been a hot mess for everybody the last couple years, I want to take some time today to talk just a little bit about my current experiences with teaching and how it's going, and maybe how you all can help me and my students by being good role models for them. So this morning, as you see this, there's a meme up on your screen. This morning, this meme popped up in my timeline. It originally said, first year teachers in 2020. It's got, stepping on the rake. And then originally it said experienced teachers in 2020. And you've got like doing all these fancy moves and then still getting hit by a rake. So I changed it this morning and sent this out to a few other second year teachers, friends of mine, and also my mentor, Miss Hanzelka, because this is still what is happening. I started during COVID. I started online, and it was a hot mess. We had a lot of kids fail last year. I shouldn't say fail. We had a lot of kids end up not passing a lot of classes for a multitude of reasons. And a lot of people said it was because, oh, well, you're online, like online is bad for everybody, all that shenanigans. Well, I am here to tell you, being back in person during the middle of a pandemic is also not great for these kids. Since the first day of school, about 3 weeks ago, what are we, 3 complete weeks in? At my school building alone, we have had a fight nearly every day in the hallways. And that's not because we've got bad kids. It is because they have been stuck in their homes for almost 2 years now. A lot of our kids face traumas at home and traumas outside of school, and they're feeling it. And we also have a lot of backlash from our kids with wearing their masks. My building alone has over 1,900 kids. That's not even including teachers. So we have over 1,900 students right now, and we are dealing with a whole heck of a lot of, hey, pull your mask up. Hey, you need to get to class on time. You can't be loitering in hallways. You need to walk on the certain part of the hallway. And as high schoolers, we have to take them to the bathroom now. So they have no freedom. I'm going to be quite honest. It's kind of like being a prison guard, in like the worst possible way. So a lot of our time is taken up throughout the day of just managing kids and making sure that they are where they need to be and that they're being safe, which is a big part of the regular school year too, right? But we are continuing to add trauma to these kids' lives by making them go into a building that is potentially risking their lives. But so I'm struggling with how I want to say this. So I go to work every day, and I still, these kids are phenomenal. These are some of the most amazing people I've met. They still persevere. They come to school. They do their best to get their work done, but they're also tired and they're afraid. They're scared. And it's up to us teachers to make sure that they're being emotionally supported, as well as getting an education, right? So let me tell you a little bit about Friday. And again, I'm not trying to take up too much time today because this is not the Nikki show. But Friday, I started off the day having a real crap day, trying to get my roof fixed. I woke up to my roof leaking again. I came into the school building, and my classroom ceiling was also leaking. Some of my advocates are on the do not admit list and a whole bunch of things. And I was pretty sure that my Friday was going to be complete shit. And sorry for the not PG language, but it wasn't until I saw my kids that I realized, you know what? It's going to be okay. We are all experiencing this together and having conversations with them. And by the end of Friday, I felt so much better just being around them. So I guess my challenge to you all, because, I know a lot of our community is vaccinated and stuff, please just have some grace with not only teachers, but also kids in your community right now. Kids are beautiful and they're gross and they're weird, but they're also struggling with a lot more stuff that they don't understand. I'm not saying adults have a good management on their emotions, but kids are still figuring out how to be humans. So please just have some grace with them. Please have grace with your teacher friends, and also be good role models. I know, I know a lot of you are vaccinated. I know a lot of you are tired and you want to all go see your friends and stuff. But my kids, they see you when you're out in public and you don't have your mask on and you are going and doing stuff, and they don't understand why they can't do the same thing. So just try to be good role models for them, and keep up those safety practices. So I don't have to worry about them getting sick, and they don't have to worry about themselves getting sick and their families getting sick. So with all that to say, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I'm sorry this wasn't more planned, but I just kind of want to speak from the heart this morning, and also just like give a shout out to my kids. And before I go, I actually want to tell another anecdote. So I actually asked a few of my students, a few of my upperclassmen students, I said, hey, like, what is going on with this whole situation of folks getting into fights every day? I said, you know, I get it, stuff happens, but I want you all to be safe and come to school and not end up not being able to come back. And one of my girls said, you know, a lot of us experience traumas at home, and we've been cooped up for so long, and somebody just looks at you funny or says something stupid to you. We don't have control over what we're feeling right now. So it was a very proud moment for me, not because they're getting into fights, but because they are becoming self-aware humans, and they just need our support right now. So yeah, anyways, thank you for listening to me. I'm going to turn it back over to Genevieve. Yeah.
Thank you, Nikki. First, I'd just like to say, you know, I've been just observing your journey through teaching, and it makes me so happy to see how like much you're enjoying it and how much you've grown and how you get it. It's all about the students, and that makes me super happy to know you get it. Yeah, I get that too. It's heavy right now. Yeah, okay. So Judy Bishop wrote something in the side. I'm going to let you guys read that if you want to, for chatting. Yeah, so we are going to move on. Hey, Nikki, I would be remiss if I didn't ask just a small question to you if you haven't left. I don't see you, but anyway, I'm going to ask. Yeah, so if you could give us like any kind of insight into basically the fall and Oasis, if you have like even a little something to tell us. If you have nothing to say, it's okay, but I have to ask.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, thank you, one, for that question. And two, we need to get cases down before we can go back to in person. And like, I know, like, I'm in my teacher mode and can be like, you know, this is a group effort. But even if we are currently looking for a space, but if cases aren't going down, it's going to be nearly impossible to go back to in person. Like, again, I know most of us are vaccinated, but the more we see breakthrough cases and all of that, we're amping up for a big fight so not to get into too much scientific detail, but breakthrough cases are the first sign of that the virus is going to mutate again, and those vaccines aren't going to work at all. So wear your mask, keep up with your hygiene, encourage others to do the same. And we're still keeping an eyeball on those cases. And if you all do your part, we'll get there a lot quicker.
Thank you. That's super useful to get an idea of, you know, just basically, I mean, you don't have to go into details of like things with Oasis, but that gives us a nice, you know, basic place to start from. Look at the numbers before you nag, Nikki. Yeah. Okay. All right. So moving on, I think, oh, no, actually, after community moment, we're going to go into our breakout rooms. So this is where you get a chance to, if you'd like, to connect with some other community members in our organization. So you'll get to go into some breakout rooms. I think in general, the only thing to tell you is, you know, keep it G-rated. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. Hey, everybody. It looks like you've all returned from your breakout rooms. I hope you had awesome conversation together and connection for at least 10 minutes while you had your coffee. All right. So we're going to move on to, I think, a second performance by JJ this morning. Hopefully they will be here soon. Let's see. Yay! Okay.
Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can hear everything okay. Time I have money, this day's fine, I have nothing to lose. I must think, I must ponder, I stay home, but I wander away. It's fantastic, to stay home and wander the world. It's fantastic, to stay home and wander the world. The night jumps, the queen dances, the board moves, the players lay on the floor. Whoa, ho, ho, the mind moves, the length of the pieces, the game plays, one to the end of time. It's fantastic, to stand here and rotate the world. It's fantastic, to stand here and rotate the world. worry. I might find I can walk the lane. I might choose by my finger. I fear not failure of my goals. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to stay home and wander the world. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to stand here and rotate the world. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Lots of clapping and hand waving. Yeah, I and David Ricks would like to know, is this a JJ original? We know it so well.
Yeah, that was the second song I ever wrote.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, no, it's always nice hearing it. It just, yeah, no, my mood improved so much. Just, yeah.
Thanks. I
Okay.
like that one.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, JJ. All right, so we are going to move on to our featured speaker. 1 second, guys. Hopefully, okay, great. All right, this will work. So before we get started, I'd like to just let you know that for this next part of our meeting today, we will be talking about some more heavier issues like suicide. So it might be a bit of a trigger for some people. So we just want to warn you about that. Let me tell you a little bit about Lindsey before we get going with the presentation. So Lindsey is an art educator, author of the children's book, Goodnight, Mr. Vincent van Gogh, artist for the Faces After Suicide exhibition, and award-winning filmmaker at India's Golden Bee International Film Festival and Sweden's Luleå International Film Festival. Her late husband, Sergeant Brett Doolittle of the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, died by suicide at their home in 2015. After finding her late husband that evening, she quickly found out that suicide was different. Not only did his police department sweep her late husband's suicide under the rug, but she was swept under there too. Mourners typically receive compassion and sympathy for those lost to an accident or physical illness. Suicide loss survivors encounter blame, judgment, and shunning. Also, the person who murdered our loved one was our loved one. Managing her pain through her art to help others, Doolittle continues to support those who have lost someone to suicide and promotes forward thinking on raising awareness. Shame creates silence, which continues the stigma. Together, we can lift the shame and stay above the rug on suicide awareness. So thank you, Lindsey. If anybody isn't on mute, please mute yourself. And we'd love to hear what you have to teach us today.
Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Thank you for having me on. And that was beautiful music, JJ. And thank you, Nikki, for talking about what's going on in the high school. So, because I work in an elementary school, so I empathize with a lot and I identify with a lot with what you're saying. So thank you. And I don't know if you guys saw my profile picture of the Simpsons character of the crazy cat lady. I have rethought that character and really empathize with how it's been made light on the crazy cat lady. I've been referred to as a crazy cat lady over the last few years several times, and people who are alone with animals. I'm not sure what it is, but that people want to say that. But yeah, I empathize a lot now with that character. I was one of those people that laughed at the character on The Simpsons, but I have a totally different outlook on the character and the idea that you're not whole if you're not with someone. So I feel like you can be whole, and have animals, beloved animals. And yeah, so anyhow, I just wanted to say that if you saw the profile picture. Um, so yeah, I work at an elementary school, and just recently we had a meeting, and it was said to us by our coordinator that or I'm sorry, one of a coordinator for our district who's for counseling, they had sent out for all the counselors to talk about stress, and they were talking about how death is a tolerable stress. And I think that really depends on the person. I felt that it was very dismissive, because I feel like the only thing that has been tolerable over the last 6 years of my husband's suicide is that I have no other choice but to tolerate it. And I think also the person who wrote about the 9 stages of grief, that they can piss off, because I feel like there's so many different stages of grief and they can happen all at the same time. And that grief is not linear, that it's like a tornado, and one big ball of confusion, and it's hard to get a grasp on. So my late husband died in April of 2015, and I came home and I found him, and he was with the police department for 16 years with Kansas City, Kansas. We were high school sweethearts, and I met him when I was 15, and he was a senior and I was a freshman. So he was all that I knew. I didn't have any other boyfriends, and he was the only one that was in my life. And when I called the police department, it was his police department that came, because you have to live in the city, the area that you work as a police officer. And like I said in the description, that I found out that suicide was different than other deaths that night. The last time I was here at Oasis speaking, I went into great detail of what happened, how I was treated. And today I want to focus on more of helping people who are suicide loss survivors, or maybe you are going through something traumatic. And I don't have all the answers, but I can definitely provide what has helped me. And so, yeah, the department, just to touch on just a couple of things, not go into great detail like I did before, but in their police report, they blamed my marriage for his death. And the autopsy also blamed my marriage for his death. And that has been something that's been plaguing me for a long time. And it's been 6 years. I think to myself, if someone, ate like crap for the last 12 years and then died of a heart attack, they're not going to write, that they've been eating cheeseburgers for the last, 12 years in there. I don't understand why they would put that in an autopsy report. And when I gave my police report, they had to rule out that it was a homicide. And I was the only one that was interviewed. And it was very clear that it was a suicide. There was no way that I would have been, that somebody could have done what my late husband did. And, and I did blame myself immediately when I found him, because we had gotten into a fight that morning. And the fight was over our bank account. And I wanted me wanting to know the username and password to our bank account, and he had been keeping it from me for the last 4 months, when he had attempted 4 months prior to his death. It was an affair that he was going to be having with someone at work, that I accidentally found out about that evening. So it set into motion a lot of different events that took place leading up to his death. But those last 4 months, really, it was Brett's life. I found that before I met him, that there was a series of unfortunate things that happened in my late husband's life. It was like the last 4 months of his life. It was I just had no idea that he was struggling with so much, and those things that he was keeping secret in his life and not talking about it and being silent about it, they all just came up those last 4 months right before his death. But in his suicide letter, he wrote that the police department, he had blamed the police department for his death. And then the police department blamed our marriage. But I want everybody to know that I don't blame anyone. I've always said that Brett's life exceeded his coping skills. And some people see it as a choice that my husband made, but I really feel that suicide is when people run out of choices. They feel like there's nothing left. So I don't believe that it is a choice. They've run out of choices. So me reaching out to the police department and wanting to talk, but being met with silence each time, being blamed, being dismissed, it hurt me deeply. I thought I was part of the family in blue, and you are until you're not. Working at a elementary school, and the students wanted to know about Officer Doolittle because he used to eat lunch with me. So my students wanted to know, and I didn't know what to say to them. And I had younger nieces and nephews too. We didn't know what to say to them. And I went and had a conversation with my former principal, and I asked her, the kids were making up things about my late husband, that he had died in a fire and he had died because he got shot in the line of duty, and none of those were true. So I asked her, I don't want them to think something that's not true. Would it be okay if I told them that he was sick? And she said, I wouldn't even go that far. And right there, it made me feel so ashamed and alienated with what's happening. And in our school systems, when someone dies, a staff member or a student, and it's of a physical illness, we've had fundraisers for cancer and made t-shirts for diabetes and, raise awareness. But I wasn't even allowed to say what happened to my late husband. And I could see such a huge difference between suicide and every other kind of death. So I was going downhill really quickly. I didn't cope very well. It was like that first year was survival mode and trying anything and everything I could to help relieve that pain. And I found that I was coping like my late husband and before his death, and how I'm sure that pain that he had been suffering with for so long and in silence, I think I got a first taste of what he was going through. And to think that he went through that such a long time, it makes me even sad to think about that. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. Finding my late husband was absolutely the most traumatic thing I've ever experienced. I love scary movies, and it was the most scariest thing I've ever seen when I found him, and there wasn't even a drop of blood, and I replay that in my head daily. It's better than where it used to be, but it still is there every single day. And it was like on a loop, like a movie reel, and it just kept playing in my head. Especially the first 2 years, it seemed like it was minute by minute, and people would talk to me, but I was only really thinking in my head of what I had experienced. Even his attempt was different from his death, and that was plaguing in my head, and the blame was plaguing me with me, and being silenced, and that shame, it was all building up. And a year and a half after my husband died, I never even had a thought of suicide in my head prior to my husband's death. And I was very suicidal after his death. And I came to a point that I fell. And luckily, that nothing happened. At the time, I was disappointed, but now looking back, I'm so grateful that it didn't. And I remember after that, I didn't tell anyone. I ended up going out with friends that evening. I was on vacation, and we went out dancing and having dinner, and didn't say a word until I got home. I went and I found a really good therapist. I opened up to my family. And that was really scary. That was probably super scary. It was just talking with my folks, but they're okay. So, I didn't know what to expect, that they are okay, and they're glad that I told them. So some things that really have helped me along my journey. The first and foremost is joining my support group, SAS, Suicide Awareness Survivor Support. They have 10 different support groups in the Kansas City area. They're a nonprofit. It's free. It's not religious based. I was welcomed with open arms. Everybody in there has such a huge, different story. Everybody's is unique. But we all have common threads, and it was so wonderful to meet others that united me with others, knowing that I wasn't alone. I felt horrible that they were there. We always say it's a club that you don't want to be a part of, and but we're so happy it exists for us, because if I could say what I needed to say without judgment. There was days I was so angry, and other days I had a lot of relief. And then you feel bad for those feelings, and then you want to talk about it. And you don't have to apologize for any of your feelings in there. You don't have to defend yourself in there. And that's what it kind of felt like, was having to defend myself on everything. So yeah, the support group has helped me immensely. The next was, I didn't really like to read, but I started reading lots of books on suicide. And the best one that I found was Joan Rivers' Bouncing Back. Her husband, Edgar, died by suicide. And in that book, she said something about do what's going to make you happy, and don't give two shits what other people think. And I really took and embraced that, because I did worry so much. I felt like if I didn't show my pain to others, then it shows that I did not love my late husband. There was also some things that were said about me as a widow of suicide that was really hurtful, because I mean, like, the pain was so deep that I had a Christmas party after his death in December, and I just I wanted to just relieve that pain. And somebody had made a comment that I wasn't grieving like a widow should be grieving, and that person wasn't even a widow. So I'm like, it hurt me so bad. But when I read that in her book, I really took that to heart, because that's not really showing my love to show my pain. And living my best life um, has shown my love. And um, and so I would recommend that don't give two shits what other people think. Um, I also worked on reclaiming spaces, which has really helped me. Like, my husband had died in our garage, and our lawnmower was down there, and I was scared to mow my lawn for a long time, and my grass grew very long, and I finally had to get down there and be down there in that space. um, I went to the police department for another funeral. I wanted to be around those officers, to know that I could be around other officers. I mean, nobody talked to me, but it was for me to help know that I can confront my fear. Some of the tools that my husband used to die, he purchased them from a certain store. I went to that store and had a conversation with the manager. I think I scared that girl really bad, but I told her that I didn't blame the store or anything. I just wanted to be able to come back into that store. So reclaiming spaces really helped me. Rearranging things helped me a whole lot. That I took out my late husband's clothes from our drawers and replaced them with my things in the drawers. His spot at dinner time that was empty, I moved myself to that spot. That way it wasn't empty. His car, I moved my car to his spot and moved his car to my spot. So I reversed them. And when I finally was able to sell his car, I made sure to park in his spot to show that, there wasn't an empty spot, to remind me on a daily basis. Changing my routines helped me too. Trying things that were new. I came to Oasis a couple of years ago. I didn't know that anybody else had thoughts like me in my head, and I was so happy to find Oasis and meet other people that had similar thinking, and it felt so good. And at the time, I was in a relationship with someone that actually told me that I couldn't go there. He said that everybody there was evil. And I think I see Daryl Ray on there. He did not like your book, The God Virus. But that relationship was over. No one's going to tell me where I can and cannot go. And so I was so happy to find Oasis and change up my routine. And and then I started focusing on the how instead of the why, because the whys always plagued me of, why did this happen? And, this why game, the woulda, coulda, shoulda game, and you don't win in that. And so I started focusing more on the hows. How can you help others? How can you raise awareness? How can you promote forward thinking? And the first one was my children's book. And I wanted to be able to tell my students, but I had been, silenced by my former principal. So I wrote the children's book in a panic one night, and the illustrations were done by support group members. I wanted to show children that you're not alone. There's so many different loss survivors in the book, someone who's lost their grandmother or their son or their husband or their wife or their best friend. So the book definitely was a great distraction for my head and to help others, because there was no kids books on suicide loss. And it was also a way for me to talk with my nieces and nephews about it. And I've always said that art teachers have a really great opportunity. We're just not taking it. We're showing our kids that here's a really beautiful picture by Vincent van Gogh of Starry Night, but we're not telling them where he was when he painted it. We're showing him in the self-portrait when he's cut off his ear, but we're not telling them why he cut off his ear. And so this book explains it in a gentle way to children. And you can have a conversation with kids. You don't have to sweep it under the rug, that you can talk with them. The next was the exhibit, because in my support group, I would draw people in my support group, listening to all of their stories. I wanted to keep my hands busy, and they would say their stories, and I wouldn't take my eyes off of them. And so the drawings, it keeps their anonymity because it's a confidential group, but I don't look at my paper, I only look at them. And those collection of drawings I took and turned it into an art exhibit, Faces After Suicide, and to help support loss survivors. And I wanted them also to be able to write if they wanted to be included in the exhibit. So there's letters from suicide loss survivors writing to their loved ones. I felt very cathartic when I was writing letters to my late husband and telling him how I felt. And I wanted also loss survivors to be able to have that opportunity too. So they're a part of the exhibit. And then it's like each year there's something like I need to keep my mind busy. And what helps me is trying to help others. So I took the animation, I took the book and I turned it into an animation. I took the art exhibit and I turned it into a short narrative documentary. And I just was going to put it on YouTube as a free resource, excuse me. But one of my mom's friends said, you should enter this into some film festivals. And I didn't think that it would be appropriate, but she encouraged me to do it. And I did. And now it's been spreading awareness in different countries. Like I feel a little addicted right now to the film festivals and trying to raise that awareness. And so they were just released, and yeah, it feels really good that others are seeing that you can talk with kids about this and how to support suicide loss survivors. So I guess before I'm done talking, some things that if right now maybe you're not a suicide loss survivor and you're wanting to know what can you do, I always start with changing the language around suicide. And the one thing I've learned, I used to say committed suicide prior to Brett's death, but now thinking about that, rethinking that in the support group, we talked about how the word committed, like it sounds like they committed a crime or committed a sin, which it's neither. So we say died by suicide. They died by suicide. I think those small things can help lift that shame and because the shame creates silence, and that's what stigma is. So it's lifting the shame on that. If you know someone who's lost someone to suicide, join them in a support group meeting. It helped a whole lot when I had my mom come with me to the support group meetings. I had my neighbor came with me. That really helped. and everybody grieves differently. My family grieved differently than me. So even just having that grace and knowing, you know, what they were going through, that helped. Another thing is, you might not know what to say to someone, and that's okay. You can tell them that I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you. I care about you. And maybe just do something. There's something that, you know, I just say, just do. Like if you want to do their dishes, mow their lawn, make them a playlist, you know, you just do, you know, go over and sit next to them. The last thing is I have links on this this event that were listed for the support group, but then there's one for the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. If you're worried about someone, I get a lot of people who ask me, well, I have someone that I'm worried about, what do I do? This website, you can go on there. It will tell you exactly what you can do. And it takes you through the steps. And so that is an important website link, the AFSP. The other one is I put on there NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. If you are someone who struggles with brain health issues, that there's free support groups on there. Also, if you're caring for someone with brain health issues, that you can go on there and be supported too. There's support groups for those who care for someone with an illness. So they are very helpful too. So those 3 links I have for everyone. And I'll just end with a quote here. I heard from a psychologist, I can't take credit for it, but it was along the lines of grief is like a boulder on your back, but it never drops off. Your back just gets stronger. So, and that is true. So, so I want to thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being above the rug.
Thank you so much, Lindsey. There's so much to talk about. First, I wanted to say that it was so cool. In the chat especially, there were words like resilience and strength and yeah, just being really powerful. Yeah, and persevering. Like many people commented on that. And so I know, like, just hearing you speak about it, that has to take so much energy and strength. And so I know I appreciate just hearing your experience, and like there's so much to learn from it. And I mean, I know I appreciate you willing to tell us more. Okay, so there's a few other things. First, let's talk a little bit about SAS. I know I was curious, you had mentioned how many places they meet within Kansas City. Is this a national or a local group? And can you speak more about that?
It is a local group, but we now added, you know, an online virtual meeting. So we've had people from other states, other countries that have signed on, and it's an extension of SAS. It's called Through This Together, and they meet on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. So it's been really wonderful to have, you know, for those who might not be able to come to a face-to-face support group meeting, because we did start back up with face-to-face. People have to have masks, they have to have their temperatures taken. And so this is a good way, you know, to have it virtually too, for those who want to stay at home. So.
Okay, awesome. There were other questions. David is asking, do you feel like you've reconciled with your husband's police department for the way they tried to conceal the tragedy?
What I think, there's probably never any kind of type of apology that they could give to me for what has happened. But what can happen, like moving forward, to know that if there's another widow, and there's going to be more widows of suicide, to know that they will get better than what I got, that's what will help. And right now, Kansas City, Kansas is still pretty old school on what they're doing for the department, for officers. Um, yeah, I would love to see, once I see that they can have policies in place to support the families, no matter how an officer dies. The family should be receiving support. To know that that would be in place would give me great peace. But there is an organization called Blue Help that helps the families of officer suicides, and they have been very wonderful to me. And knowing that they're reaching all around the U.S. To other widows, that's helped me a lot. I don't think that there is anything that they could say that would help resolve what happened with me. But moving forward, it would give me great peace if I knew that. So.
Yeah, great. Okay. Also, another question was, how could we view your video?
Well, right now the film festivals, they want it for just themselves, and you can be disqualified if you put it on social media or make copies of it. So that's a great question. I'm not sure when, or like, I'll let everybody know on my Facebook page or in person, when it's available. But like, it's going to be in a festival in Transylvania next year. So like, it's like into March, that these festivals are still happening. But I am doing an author reading of my book this Wednesday at Afterward Tavern and Shelves from 6 to 8. So if anybody wants to come hear the book, just wouldn't be able to see the animation just yet.
Okay, great. Yeah, maybe is it like an event? Could we like find out more like through Facebook or something if we wanted to come? Or
yeah, I posted it on my Facebook page, and but I can send you the link if you want.
okay, great. I want to make sure I get all the questions. Yeah, let's see. Do we have any other questions for Lindsey? I know also that there was a special event. Any events coming up you'd like to speak about too, Lindsey?
Yes, thank you. It's the walk. It's on September 12th, and we're having it. It's outdoors, and it's just a great way to unite loss survivors and people supporting other people who've lost survivors. And they read the names of the people who we've lost. Matt, what's his, oh, I feel terrible right now. Matt Stewart from Fox 4, I think he's going to be our MC. They have a beautiful song that somebody wrote, and we'll be there. We have an ASL interpreter for anybody who might be hard of hearing or who's deaf. So I think we're going to have coffee too. So, and I designed the T-shirt this year for the walk. So I believe the registration's closed now, but you can still, walk up that morning and pay. And it's really it's a free event. If people can't afford the registration, which is $30, that's the wonderful thing about our group, is that they still will welcome you and you can still be part of it. But yeah, the $30, it goes back to like buying tissue boxes for our support groups, buying new literature on suicide, up-to-date literature. So it helps.
Yeah. Could you tell us more about the walk as far as like where it'll be, and also could you also include a link or something for that as well, so anyone that would like to participate could find out more?
Yeah, it's at Loose Park, and it goes from um, registration's at 8, and the walk starts at 9, and it goes till 11 in the morning. Um, and yes, I will give you that link for the walk. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Okay.
I dropped the link in the chat. Sorry to interrupt, but I dropped it in there.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Lindsey. If there aren't any other questions, I know I appreciate you coming and speaking, and the more we talk about truth, I think it's only going to lead to better changes in our lives, and the way we look at each other, and are kind to each other too. And so I really appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah. Okay. So to continue, let's talk for a minute about Oasis as an organization. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we are entirely volunteer staffed and donation funded. Our program today is just part of the wide range of informational, educational, and motivational speakers we offer most Sundays. If you appreciate what you've heard and seen, please consider making a donation. There are several ways to donate. We are credit and debit card donations, or you can do that by text 816-839-7656 with the dollar amount you'd like to give. Recurring weekly or monthly donations can be set up online through Simple Give. If you go to our website, kcoasis.org, and click on Donate at the top of the homepage. I also know a lot of people these days are using Smile through Amazon. We know, at least we feel a little less guilty every time we have to shop through Amazon, when we know a little portion goes off to our Oasis pals. Okay, so we're gonna end today our music portion of today with RJJ, their last song today. I'm excited to hear it, and yeah.
Hey everybody, testing 1 2. All right. Say yay in the chat if you can hear me. Well, you know the routine. I always try to do one song that I don't know. And since this is going to be my last song as, music coordinator for Oasis, I wanted to pick a decent one. I don't know if I did, but this is what you get. It's been a pleasure volunteering for this organization for so long. Thank you all super much, and I'll of course still see you around. Fare you well, my honey. Fare you well, my only true one. All the birds that were singing have flown, except you alone. Want to leave this broke down palace on my hands and my knees. I will roll time I will roll, roll, roll. In a bed by the waterside I will lay my head. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. River gonna take me, sing me sweet and sleepy. Sing me sweet and sleepy all the way back home. It's a forgotten lullaby that I sung many years ago. Mama, mama, many words have come since I first left home. Going home by the waterside I will rest my bones. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Going to plant a weeping willow on the bank's green hedge. It will grow. Sing a lullaby beside the water. Lovers come and go, the river roll, roll, roll. Fare you well, I love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Fare you well, I love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Thank y'all.
Okay, everybody get off mute and, tell JJ how much you love them. Please, it's about time. It's been 7 years, guys.
Thank you.
Beautiful, JJ.
We so appreciate you. So JJ, I have to ask you, are you going to come back once in a while and be like at least a musical guest for us now and then? Like, just
Probably.
for old time's sake?
I imagine I will.
Okay,
I showed up. I'll keep showing up.
good. We want you to. I know, I do. I think I can speak for everybody else in that way. Thank you,
Let's figure out
thank you,
new
thank
songs I
you.
don't know.
Okay. Thank you, JJ. Okay, guys. So, thank you, JJ, again. Thank you, Nikki, for giving us some new insight to think about being kind to all our kids in school these days. And thank you so much, Lindsey, for coming back and speaking with us and reminding us, we need to be kind to each other and to ourselves so much. And yeah, all those awesome events coming up too that we can help to support each other and our friends and family members who may be affected like you. So thank you everyone for coming today. We hope to see you again next Sunday. Sign up for community events coming up soon, and we'll see you later.